Hey guys, what's up? It's been a while. Welcome back sa Filipino Millennial Mindset Podcast. Kasama ko ngayon si Kim and si Philip. And ang pinakapag-usapan namin ngayon is yung concern ng isa sa aming mga listener na nag-reach out and mostly about, basta malalaman niya. Pero bago tayo magsimula doon, gusto ko lang i-acknowledge the fact na yung podcast, even though medyo naglaylo tayo sa pag-upload, nasa ano na ngayon, 4,393 plays. So naka 4K na tayo na mga audience na nagpe-play ng episodes natin. And surprising lang na para sa akin, surprising na may nakikinig pa rin at may nakikinig talaga sa atin. And may nare-reach tayo tulad nitong listener natin na nag-reach out na naghihingi ng advice. So, yung listener natin gusto niyang keep anonymous yung kanyang name and that's totally fine. And basahin ko lang muna yung concern niya. And then, gusto ko marinig yung advice niyo, Philip and Kim. So sabi niya, good day po, almost 1 year na ako makikinig sa podcast niyo. Marami na daw siyang natutunan. Gusto lang niya humingi ng advice sa atin kung paano ba niya sasabihin sa parents niya na hindi na siya magbibigay ng pera. Pero kasi nagtatrabaho daw siya and then obligado pa rin siya magbigay sa parents niya. 8 years na siyang nagtatrabaho. So meron yung estimate ng sahod niya around 30K. More or less daw 10K na lang natitira sa kanya. And then may kapatid siya na 10 years nag-aral, graduate na ngayon, medical field. And then isang taon na tapos pero wala pa ring trabaho. Yun daw isa sa mga kinasasama ng loob niya. Then ang pinaka-concern niya, paano ba sasabihin sa parent na parang gusto ko nang masolo yung salary ko. Kasi yung parents niya nag-work din at kumikita rin ng pera. Gusto niya sabihin sa parents niya na masolo yung sahod niya and para makapag-plan sa future. Kasi syempre may plano siya magkaroon ng sarili ding family. So parang para sa inyo, ano ba yung pinaka-best way para i-tackle tong gusto niyang gawin? So Philip, ikaw ano bang tingin mo?
Well, actually, yung problema na to, sobrang common sa Pilipinas kung alam niyo naman, di ba? Like, part na ng culture ng Pilipino yung problema na to. And I have a different take kasi lumaki ako sa ibang bansa. At the same time, alam ko ang kultura ng Pilipinas kasi you still carry the culture kahit nasa ibang bansa ka. What's great about that is you're seeing na yung pamilya dito sa North America, pag kumikita na let's say, pag yung anak naging 18 na, they're considered adult. Therefore, either umalis ka na sa bahay mo or you can stay at home, pero adult ka na, pwede ka na magsarili, wala nang problema. You're not obligated to serve the family anymore. Hindi ka na kailangan magbigay. Yun ang advantage sa North America because it's a wealthy country. Ang problema noon, for me, it destroys the family value. Kaya dito, madalas ang matatanda nasa nursing home. Yung para ba nakakalimutan na yung parents? Pag nagsarili na yung anak na ibang pamilya na, nakakalimutan na yung sarili niyang magulang. And then, yung tradition na yon napapason sa anak niya. Which is a double-edged sword. You know, you get the benefit of being independent na magsasarili ka, pero you lose the loving nature of family na we have sa Pilipinas. Yung sasagot ko sa anong pangalan niya? Ay, nga pala, walang pangalan.
Pwede.
yung
courtesy sa kanya.
Kaya nga loko lang yun. Yung para kasi baka heart attack siya ng konti, di ba? Yung advice ko sa kanya is twofold, or two answers actually. Pwede niyang gawin yung kausapin niya yung parents niya na gusto niya magsarili, gusto niyang umalis sa lugar nila, mag-start siya ng sarili niyang negosyo, start siya ng sarili niyang buhay, ng pamilya, tapos hindi na siya magbibigay ng pera sa kanila. His parents can take it in two ways. One way, they'll be proud na ganyan ang anak ko, okay na yan, ganyan. At the same time, merong ibang parents na, ano ba naman to anak ko, walang utang na loob, ako nagpalaki sa'yo. Typical Filipino parents, di ba? That's one solution. Ang problema sa solution na yon, it can go both ways. Kung ako sa kanya, it can go both ways. And I have to be ready for the consequences. Kasi pwede naman ganito mangyari. Sinabi niya yon, mag-aaway sila, and at the same time, he's still gonna do it. Masama lang loob niya. Therefore, he's gonna be holding a bitterness. There is one solution na it's not, na parang hindi naman popular I don't think it's popular, pero for me, it's a better solution, but it's very hard to do. The solution requires you to take responsibility. I know this guy's a guy, as an adult, to bear in more people under your wing. Ang ibig ko sabihin doon, you make this as a rite of passage of becoming an adult. Imbis na aasikaso mo sarili mo, isang tao, you take on the responsibility of all the family members, including your parents. Hindi mo sasabihin sa kanila. Therefore, ang goal mo is to level up your skill of making money, level up your skill of taking responsibility, therefore strengthening your personality and your behavior and your overall character, improving everything else about you para you can take care of them.
Mhm.
Para sa akin gano'n. Kasi in order for you to actually, para sa akin natutunan ko to. Nung single ako, even though my girlfriend ako gano'n, I'm irresponsible kasi I have nobody to take care of below me. But once I put in na sa ulo ko na I have somebody to take care of, all of a sudden, sa isip ko, I'm trying to find ways to make money. I'm really trying to find ways to make money. Pwede kong benta tong couch na to, makaka 600 ako dito. Pwede kong benta tong luma computer na to, makaka $50 ako dito. You're trying to find ways to make money without holding on na para bang, visit naman to, I have to feed them. Visit naman to, if you put it in as your responsibility, you won't see that bitterness anymore. You'll become a bigger person, you'll grow. That's how you become an entrepreneur. That's how you become successful in anything. So that's two solutions. I hope he gets it.
Parang yung second solution mo, parang ginamit mo yung situation to better yourself, no?
Hindi lang better yourself. You're actually creating your own tribe, and you will become the leader. Kasi if you take on this responsibility, you have to think of yourself as an adult. Therefore, alam mo yung mga ibang, nakita ko talaga sa Pilipinas nung bumalik ako. Kahit na 40-year-old na yung lalaki, they still act like a kid around their parents. Their parents will never see them as an adult if they act like a kid. Ngayon, if the only way you could gain respect from your parents if you show that you're an adult, kailangan yung tindig mo, yung salita mo, what you're gonna be talking about, kailangan mature. You're not gonna be talking about, tambay kami doon, naglaro kami ng game, or like yung mga ganon, yung pinag-usapan ng mga teenager or even 20 years old, you abandon that around them. You have to change your whole persona sa parents mo to get the respect from them. You have to earn the respect from them. If you act like a kid around your parents, they're gonna treat you like a kid. I learned that the hard way nung para sa parents ko. Even now, they still think of me as a kid, even though may pamilya ko. But then when I open my mouth, nakikita ko talaga, they kind of stand back and then parang, oh, mama na pala to. But in their head, you're still a kid. That's how you do it. You have to like create your own tribe, and you're gonna be the head of the tribe. Kasi basically you're gonna change. Like yung parents mo relying on you sa pera, medyo masakit yon, but you have to change your outlook on that. Kailangan pag-isipin mo na you're gonna be providing for this whole, village of yours, and you're the leader.
Parang nakarelate ako dun sa sinabi mo na yung pag umasta ka na para kang bata, tatutuin kang parang bata. Hindi naman sa parang nag-pretend ako maging matured na. Pero ever since parang nag-change na yung mindset ko about my life, yung parang take on more responsibility, accountability for my own life. Yung tita ko and other relatives, parang all of the sudden, they look up to me as someone na yung malalapitan whenever there's problem sa family. Na, alam mo yun, hindi na no disrespect sa kuya kong isa, pero mas they would rather reach out to me than dun sa kuya kong yun na medyo hindi okay yung status. Hindi naman okay yung status ko, pero what I mean is parang nakikita nila kung paano ko i-handle yung mga problems ko ngayon and ano yung mga tinatry kong i-build with my own life. So parang nakikita nila ako someone na pwedeng malapitan for solutions.
Di ba, sarap pakiramdam, di ba?
Oo. So, ganun din yung mararamdaman ng future family ko when they look up to me. Na ang sarap sa pakiramdam na ganung klaseng tao ako. So, nagigets ko yung parang second, yung binanggit mo kanina.
Pero ang advice ko lang sa'yo, kunyari may pamilya ka na, you have to explain what you're doing. Kasi may ibang bata katulad ko, tanga ako ng bata ako eh. Kahit nasa harapan ko na yung solusyon, o nasa harapan ko na yung role model ko, somebody has to explain to me kung anong ginagawa niya na kung bakit niya ginagawa yun. Kasi mag-iintindihan ko lang yun. Nung 30 na ako, doon ko lang naintindihan eh. Dapat naintindihan ko na nung 16, 18 ako eh. Yun lang yun.
Sobrang totoo niyan. Ita-topic natin yan sa isa sa mga future episode kasi isa sa mga napansin ko sa mga millennial, they are the most hardworking when they find out the what and the why with what they're doing. So, topic natin yan sa susunod. So, ikaw, Kim, anong ma-advise mo sa listener natin?
Ako, parang 8 years is a long time eh. Para sa akin, parang sobrang daming time na wasted na, well, during those 8 years, ako, magiging completely blunt ako. Hindi mo sila tinutulungan nun. Parang tinutulungan mo sila maging tamad.
Yeah, that's true too.
Totoo yun. Kasi parang, let's say, knock on wood, mawala ka. Sabihin natin mawala ka. Ano mangyayari sa kanila? Mahihirapan sila. In my opinion, hindi mo din pwede na pabayaan na lang sila bigla. Kasi, syempre, mahirap yun eh. Parang, although sabihin na natin may trabaho ang parents mo, tawag mo doon, ganto. Parang, mas okay pa din na out of, being family, tulungan mo silang makabangon, di ba? Para lang matutunan nila. And then that's when you actually separate. Kasi parang ako magulang din kasi ako eh. Parang ako hindi ko naman obligahin yung anak ko na yun yung mali ng magulang mo. Never mong responsibilidad ng mga magulang mo. Never, although ikaw, responsibilidad mo, mga kapatid mo, kung ikaw ang panganay. Kasi nasa kultura natin yan eh. Gustong-gusto ko yun eh. Pag ikaw yung panganay, kasi ikaw talaga yung leader ng pamilya mo. Pero parang kasing ang sakit na 8 years kang ganun na parang nobody sees your hard work and they never appreciated it to the point na dapat, okay na siguro to. Humanap ka na naman ng sarili mong buhay, live your life. Parang it just shows na parang di ko sasabihin na hindi ka mahal ng magulang mo. Parang hindi nila man lang naisip. Medyo masakit yun. Masakit yun. Na hindi man lang nila naisip ikaw. After 8 years of you pinipiga mo yung blood, sweat, and tears mo sa trabaho. Pero ako, advice ko dun sa listener natin, help them. Kasi sila yung mahihirapan pag kunyari bigla na lang mawala yung yung financial support. Kasi nangyari sa akin yun, nawalan ako ng income, nawala ako ng ano. Parang iba yung pakiramdam. Yun nga, parang mahirap yung sitwasyon na yan, madaming away or madaming tampo na mangyayari. Pero in my opinion, it's for their own good na para naman matuto naman sila na yung lalo na yung kapatid mo. Parang doon ako nagagalit Parang 1 year na siyang graduate. Although ako, if I had a chance na mag-chill ako ng 1 year, pero I will never do it to the extent na meron maapekto ang ibang tao. Which is ikaw, naapektuhan ka. So, doon talaga parang tingin ko yung magulang mo, I think, parang di lang nila napapansin. Pero I think your parents will understand if they really love you. Kasi never na ako kasi magulang na ako, never, although cargo mo sila over their lifetime, hindi mo sila responsibilidad na pakainin mo sila habang buhay. And wag nilang sasabihin na pinakain ka nila, pinakain ka nila, parang susumbat. Wag nilang sasabihin yun. Kasi as parent, duty nila yun That's their duty as parents na pakainin ka nila, nurture ka nila. Never dapat nilang sabihin yun sa'yo. So, wag kang mag-alala na sasabihin nila sa'yo na Kung sabihin nila sa'yo, magalit ka. Kasi hindi tama talaga yun Naiinis ako sa mga ganung magulang pag meron ako naririnig na gano'n na kunyari susumbatan ka nila na trabaho tapos ikaw wala kang ginagawa. Parang although ginagawa mo yung best mo, pero 'di ba? Parang yun yung ng magulang responsibilidad mo yun magpaaral ng bata, alagaan sila, mahalin sila, parang hindi dapat yung sinusumbat. Yun yung problema. Ewan ko kung di lang siguro siya culture ng Pilipino. Parang culture na siya na, ewan ko, parang di siya culture. Parang ugali na ng mga magulang yun. Out of frustration na din kasi mahirap din magpalaki ng anak. Pero hindi dapat isumbat yun. Kasi did it out of love. Hindi, yun nga parang yung unconditional love nga, di ba?
Sa tingin ko, common yun sa third world country, yung pagsumbat ng gano'n.
Kasi dito sa US, parang pag 18 mo na, kabala sa buhay mo. Although ako supportive ako sa ganun thinking. Parang tinutulungan ka nilang mangisda. Binigyan ka nila ng tools, pinag-aral ka nila, and then it's your time to shine. Kasi di mo sila tinuturuan maging tamad Meron akong ibang mga friends dito na ganun yung naranasan nila. Filipinos din sila. And yung mga iba ko din friends na na non-Filipinos. Kaya tingin ko sobrang iba ang level ng understanding ng mga Amerikano when it comes to like success. Nare-reach nila yung success nila at early age. Is because of that. Kasi binibigyan sila ng independence. Although sometimes independence comes irresponsibility. Di ba? Parang din yun payo din ni Spider-Man yun Pero sobrang independent mo. Nag-party ka lang, nag-drugs ka lang.
Rephrase mo, with great independence comes great responsibility.
Oo. Sobrang nun, di ba? Yun nga lang yung problema nun. Pero maiba tayo. Balik tayo dun sa topic. Lang talaga. Sobrang hirap ng sitwasyon niya, to be honest. Pero ako, if, sabihin mo na ngayon, sabihin mo na sa magulang mo, and tulungan mo yung kapatid mo makabangon. Tingin ko yung magulang mo, kaya nilang buhayin nila yung sarili nila. Since nagtatrabaho naman sila. Although na lang kung meron sila mga bills or mga utang na binabayaran, hindi mo responsibilidad yon.
No.
Hindi mo responsibilidad yon, or yung may mga bisyo sila, hindi mo responsibilidad yon.
Yeah, and I would say if kung doon ka pupunta sa past na kakausapin mo na sila, kailangan mo i-consider paano mo siya gustong sabihin yung paraan mo kasi baka mamaya punong-puno ka ng bitterness pag in-approach mo sila, walang magandang mangyayari doon. Kailangan i-process mo maigi yung parang gusto mong sabihin. And siguro ikaw tanong mo sarili mo kung ikaw yung magulang mo, paano mo gusto mo ma-approach ka knowing who they are and how they are. Tingin ko kasi kailangan how you say it matters eh. Baka kasi mamaya tingin mo tama ka pero dinuduro-duro mo sila. Di ako payag na ganito, mga ano kayo. Lalaki na. Pag coming from bitterness, walang magandang mangyayari.
And para sa akin, it seems like it's a tradition in their household. And you gotta break that tradition na guilt-tripan. That would be worse. Sa pamilya namin, we have a rule. Dito doon pa sa lolo ko, sabi na, pag meron ka ng sariling pamilya mo, huwag kang titira sa lupa ko. Magbukod ka.
No.
Bawal yung pag may asawa ka, doon ka nakatira sa bahay nila. Kailangan may sarili ka ng bahay. Yun ang rule. So, ibig sabihin nun, and also, sa pamilya namin, pag mas bata ka, hindi ka pwede magbayad ng bill. Kailangan yung matanda magbabayad. Kahit ako, pag galing akong Canada, pag umuwi ako sa Pilipinas, magagalit sila sa akin pag ako nagbayad ng bill pag sa restaurant. Yung mga tito-tita ko, magagalit sa akin yun. Pag lumabas kami sa restaurant, ako nagbayad ng bill, magagalit sila. Kasi para sa kanila, parang sinampal ko sila sa mukha. Kasi mas matanda sila sa akin Yun ang tradition namin. Pero sa mga Pilipinong iba, pagka, nga pala, obligation yung mga taong katulad namin ni Kim na nasa abroad. Di ba yung mga ibang pamilya na nasa Pilipinas, masyado na sila nasanay na pinapadala ng pasalubong na parang every month or every 3 months may balikbayan box na they don't even appreciate na pinaghihirapan ng mga ibang tao. Meron akong kilala dito asar na sila na nagpapadala ng balikbayan box. Sabi nila sa akin, pagdating daw sa Pilipinas, di ba, yung mga ibang tao, inaasikaso nila, binabalot nila, niligyan na ng pangalan, niligyan sa isang corner ng box, hinahati-hati. Pagbukas daw nila, hindi na alam kung saan napupunta yung mga ibang gamit. Tapos, so sabi ko sa kanya, huwag ka na magpadala. Sabi niya kawawa naman sila Sabi ko, hindi naman sila mamamatay. The problema sa kanila, nagiging masyado silang naging obligation mo na magbigay, nasanay na sila na para sa kanila baliwala na. Like, they're not gonna work for anything. Yeah, so tama rin si Kim kasi sinasabi niya.
Pero, yung pinaka, nabanggit mo kanina, di ba, parang common siya sa third world countries na yung parang culture na nakita natin sa Pinas.
Yeah.
Kasi, isipin mo, although hindi kami ganito, yung status ng family namin. Pag yung family na, alam mo yung typical na Pinoy na sa bukid ba? Tama ba? Basta magsasaka. And then, all his life, alam niya lang maging magsasaka. And then, eventually, hindi niya na kaya maging magsasaka. Pero may family siya. And yung family na yun, kailangan nilang may makain. Eventually, yung responsibility napapass on dun sa anak, sa panganay na napo-force tuloy yung anak na siya maging provider kasi hindi na kaya nung tatay niya na magsasaka dahil siguro matanda na, mga ganun. Parang yun lagi naisip kong parang consideration pagdating sa gantong topic
Hindi, yun naman talagang traditional stuff even sa North America. Yung mga farmers dati from the 1940s, 50s, yung mga anak nila, they would take over the business o ganun, tapos alagaan nila yung parents nila. Problema ngayon sa modern society, money comes fast. Mas mabilis na kumita ng pera. So, in a way, some of the responsibilities don't apply anymore. Kunyari, sabihin natin ito, kung yung lalaki na itong nagsulat ng problema na to, what he could do is magtayo siya ng maliit na negosyo and let his parents run it. Therefore, yung parents niya, meron ng negosyo yung parents niya na siya nagsimula, kumikita yung parents niya, pwede na siyang umalis. He just has to think of a way to do those things. Dati kasi, everything is labor. Kaya mas mahirap i-transition yung ganun.
So, maganda yung nabanggit mong yan. Parang hold on to that thought na yung example mong to na nagtayo ka small business. In a way, parang tinulungan mo, hindi ka tumigil tulungan yung parents mo. Pero nag-provide ka ng tulong up to the point na hindi na nila kailangan yung tulong mo. Alam mo yun?
Kasi sorry, go ahead.
Hindi, sabihin ko lang, yung kumbaga parang kung nagtitiis ka na provider, hindi baliwala yung pagtitiis mo. Nagtitiis ka so you can eventually hindi na kailangan magtiis.
Yeah, pero yung thinking ko iba eh. Yung ibang tao kasi pag sinabi lang magtitiis is you have to suffer. Ang iniisip ko, you have to use your brain. Kunyari, yung parents mo nahihirapan, ikaw nahihirapan, mag-isip ka naman mabuti. Teka, pwede mo magtrabaho ng mga 2 months, tapos bibili ako ng franchise ng buko. So siguro may mga buko tinderia na maliliit na stand sa may mall, buko. Makikita mo sa side, franchise option, ganyan, sa buying your franchise. Tanong mo magkano yung franchise na yon, magkano yung cost ng stand, yung employees, makikita mo, kaya ko to ng 2 or 3 months ng trabaho. And then from there, you start the franchise. Kung nagustuhan mo, bigay mo sa parents mo, at least they can provide for themselves. Hindi mo na sa kailangan problemahin. Instead na ikaw magtatrabaho para sa kanila, you invest on something else. We live in a society now that you can get information like that. You can go to a website, paano ba mag-start ng banana cube business?
No.
Paano ba mag-start ng gulaman business? Ganon. Alam mo advantage sa Pilipinas, a lot of people think na mentality ng Pilipino ganito eh. You have to go abroad to make money. Problema ganito. My father, yung papa ko, civil and mechanical engineer. Pagdating dito sa Canada, they won't respect diploma. So he became a janitor dito. Ngayon, kung nowadays, that applies actually in the 80s. Kaya yung mga tao nagpupunta sa Saudi. Ganun na ba magiging engineer sa Saudi. Ngayon sa era na to, you can actually just stay in the Philippines. You have the internet. Tingnan mo kung anong pwede mo i-start clothing business. Mag-import ka galing sa Taiwan. Tapos magbenta ka ng stand. Ang advantage sa Pilipinas, you don't need licensing na sobrang katerba para mag-start ng store. You don't need so much licensing to start a restaurant. Pwede ka
walang masyadong tax. Parang one time lang yung tax eh.
Yeah. Tapos pag nag-fail yung business mo, you're not bankrupt. Dito, pag nag-start ka ng business, magbabaro ka ng pera sa bangko. Ililigay mo yung bahay mo as collateral or yung kotse mo as collateral. Pag nag-fail yung business mo, wala ka ng bahay, wala ka pang kotse. Yan sa Pilipinas is low risk. So you can start a business 4, 3, 5. Walang problema. People there, you guys have to, as para sa akin, Pilipino, napakatalino eh. Yung mga kotse na naiwan sa World War II, ginawang jeep. Di ba? Yung mga ganon. So, be resourceful what you have there and then wag ka masyadong magreklamo. Tingnan mo lang solution. Makikita mo yon.
Parang being resourceful yung pinakamagandang maipapass on mo. No?
And then recently ko lang nalaman kasi umuwi ako ng Pilipinas. Real estate sa Philippines ang pinakamadaling pasukin sa buong mundo.
Riga? Paano?
Ang dali-daling kumuha ng loan, pwedeng pag-ibig. Sobrang dali, di ba, makapag-apply ng pag-ibig? Kahit tapos ang dami pang sobrang baba ng tax.
Ano yung pag-ibig?
Parang
Pag-ibig loan.
pag-ibig fund, pag-ibig loan. Kahit normal na tao, pwede silang mag-invest sa bahay and then parentahan nila. So let's say, kumikita lang sila ng 500 a month from that rent. Pwede ka na, or mag-roommate ka. Diba? Kumikita ka. So sobrang ako in my opinion versus California,
Oh my God, California.
anywhere else.
Hmm.
Imagine owning a home in California, the taxes.
Jesus Christ. Magkano yung binabayad yung taxes dyan?
Siguro bumabayad ako ng $5,000 a year.
Oh.
Ano lang yun di pa kasama dun yung iba.
Property tax lang yun?
Wala pang state tax yun.
Property tax lang yun?
Property tax lang yun.
Jesus Christ.
Wala pa yung county tax, wala pa. Kulang, ano pa yun.
Pero
California, pinakamataas ng tax, man.
Pero ano naman, nandito pa, in my opinion, nandito pa rin yung opportunity. And nandito talaga yung mga tech na gusto kong pabahuin.
Silicon Valley, man.
So, dito talaga.
Pero
Going back sa Philippines, sobrang baba ng interest rate pag umutang ka.
Hindi ko alam yun
Towards, mangutang ka dito sa US.
Mm.
Grabe sa taas ang interest rate. Dami din tax na babayaran.
Oo nga pala.
Imagine if you're bringing your tax dollars to the Philippines.
Yaman
Yaman mo talaga.
Yaman mo nun.
Ayun.
Yo, Dro, di ba nag-start ka ng coffee shop?
Yung best example na nga yan, di ba?
Meron akong coffee shop.
Alam mo gaano kahirap mag-start ng coffee shop dito? Pag nag-start ka ng coffee shop, may inspector. Tapos checking kung saan galing yung beans mo. Checking kung gaano ka safe yung beans mo, yung transport, yung storage mo. Alam mo when you store the beans, kung merong mold or yung temperature control, yung refrigeration, yung coffee, yung yung machine mo.
Tapos yung fridge niya dapat parang hindi yung normal na fridge.
Yeah.
Parang yung industrial fridge.
Standard. So sa Pilipinas, you can actually do whatever you want to start a business. Walang problema.
Oo, no? Kasi isa sa inaalala namin kasi medyo marami nang bumibili. Inisip namin kung hanapan na ba tayo ng permit, mga ganun. Pero walang lumalapit. Yung katapat namin, parang tao sa barangay, hindi naman kami hinahanapan kung ano. Hinahayaan lang kami. Nabili pa sa amin And I think since napasok na tayo sa usapang, pagbi-business, I think ito yung isa sa mga ways na yung gaya ng sabi mo, pwede mo i-pass on sa parents mo and para makapag-sustain sila ng sarili nilang buhay nang hindi ka na kailangan. Na parang para ma-solve tong issue na hinaharap ng listener natin. Pero sa business, napaka-importante ng para sabihin ko, ng mindset mo. Kasi may mga times noon sa coffee shop namin na may mga problems na nangyari tapos kung hindi ako handa para sa mga problems na yon, kung wala akong sense of responsibility, baka sumuko na ako. Kaya there's more to running a business than just parang pero lang sobrang simple lang
My dad, yung papa ko, he likes starting businesses. Like marami na siya na start na business. Sa Virginia, we actually have some nursing homes there, assisted living. Dati nung bata ako, sinabi niya sa akin, natandaan ko talaga sinabi niya sa akin. Sabi sa akin, alam mo, pagtanda mo, mag-start ka ng business. Kasi gusto ko maging personal trainer, yung ganun. Dapat hindi ka trainer, dapat ikaw yung may-ari ng gym. So, what do you mean? Kasi ang business ganito hindi mo na kailangan ng algebra sa business Ang kailangan mo lang matutunan is subtraction tsaka addition Yun lang Kahit na pinakabobong tao pwede mag-start ng business
totoo lang.
So sabi niya sa kanya, it's much better to own the hospital than be a doctor in a hospital. Yun ang sabi niya sa akin. Kasi sabi niya, yung ibang tao yung ibang hospital, yung may-ari ng hospital na building na yan, hindi pa nakakatapos ng high school. Pero yung mga doktor, ilang MD tsaka PhD yung pero siya yung boss. Sabi niya sa akin ganun. Kaya yung kailangan yung gawin mo.
Isa sa magandang example kung parang yung mindset na kung bakit malaking effect ang mindset kung magtatayo ka business, kung gusto mo magtayo. May mga bagay na simple lang, pero dahil dati hindi ako naniniwala na it can be that simple. Naghahanap ako ng ways para i-complicate yung mga bagay.
Oh, you're self-sabotaging.
Yep. Kung di ako nakinig sa iba't ibang podcast ng mga business-minded people, hindi ko matututunan yun na, yeah, it can be this simple. Posible siya.
Mm.
May mga struggles, pero inevitable naman ang struggles sa kahit anong aspect ng buhay. Pero pag nalaktawan mo yun, may ang daming parts ng business na simple lang. Nag-iisip nga ako lagi na kasi magandang example yung CEO or founder ng Reebok, yung sapatos, na interview siya ng client namin. So, narinig ko yung storya ng Reebok. So, parang ilang taon, 11 years silang inabot para lang mapasok yung market ng US. So, yung ability nila magstay in the game, hindi sila nag-quit, naghanap sila ng ways. Yun, eventually, nag-boom sila. So, parang nagtataka ako hindi mo naman makikita yung mga big companies na to, bigla na lang naging millionaire, di ba? Yung day-to-day boring na operations ang nagli-lead sa maraming pera sa kanila. So, it doesn't have to be that complicated.
Yung mga tao, naririnig lang nila yung
Success
mga
no?
success, pero hindi nila nakinirinig yung pinaghirapan eh.
So, isang magandang advice din kay listener natin kung open siya sa, alam mo yun, kasi isang magandang investment yung business kung gusto mo nga talagang ma-introduce to sa parents mo. Kailangan mong, pero mahirap maging tamad kung may negosyo ka. Sa lahat naman eh. Pero, isipin mo ngayon, di ba, nasa around 30K yung sweldo niya daw. Kung ako, sa sahod ko, hindi ko masasabi na yung buong pera kong yun sa mga ayos na bagay na pupunta. Alam mo yun? Ewan ko, nalagay ko ako sa situation niya. Tapos, hopefully, huwag kang ma-offend, pero ganito yung stand ko. Talaga bang minanage ko ng mabuti yung pera ko bago ako mag-complain? Kumbaga, na-optimize ko na ba talaga? O baka naman may habit pa rin akong gastador ako. And yun yung isa sa mga bagay kung bakit hindi okay yung situation namin tuloy. Yung mga napaka-importanteng yung mga habits, maging aware ka sa kung ano yung habits mo, spending habits. And actually, yung kailangan mong i-approach yung parents mo, sobrang mahirap siya if you never had the habit of talking to people about uncomfortable conversations eh. So, isa yun sa mga magandang i-advise namin sa'yo na kahit siguro kung may girlfriend ka tapos never kayo nag-usap ng girlfriend nyo tungkol sa mga uncomfortable conversations na kailangan yung pag-usapan na tinatago nyo lang, you're just sweeping it under the rug. Sobrang expect mo na, sobrang uncomfortable tong approach mo sa parents mo. Pero it's normal. Pero pag naging habit na siya, magiging normal na lang na nag-uusap kayo ng parents nyo tungkol sa pera, solutions instead of the problems, instead of blaming each other. Yun yung magandang part doon.
Meron lang ako sasabihin. Meron kasi ibang parents na toxic. I'm 42. So, sa kinalakihan ko, I saw both. Meron ako nakitang Filipino na PSW. PSW is personal support worker. Ibig sabihin nun, nag-aalaga sila ng matatanda, yung pinapalitan yung diaper, yung nursing home, yung mga gano'n. One time, nakita ko, so siya, mga 55, 27 lang ako nun. Nasa hospital ako na I was working. May dumaan na dalaga, may dalang pagkain. Binigyan niya ko, Daddy, ito yung pagkain, mga ganun. Oh, thank you, anak. Ang ganda ng relationship nila. Na yung tatay tsaka anak. Tapos dumating, may isang binata, nagdala ka ng pagkain. Ako nagdala ng pagkain, akala ko hindi kayo pupunta. Hindi, nagdala. Okay to, doble din pagkain ko. Tonto yung tatay. Pagkatapos ng kinausap ko siya, sabi sa niya, okay yung relationship mo sa mga anak mo. I remember, I was 27. 27 lang ako nito. Okay, kasi ganito lang yan. Pag may problema ang anak mo, huwag kang magalit. Kausapin mo silang sabi mo sila, hindi ako magagalit sa'yo pag hindi ka nagsinungaling. Pag nagsinungaling ka, magagalit ako sa'yo. Pero kung may problema ka, sabihin mo sa akin para maayos natin. Sa isip ko, parang saan galing tong ano na to? Parang alien to, di ba?
Hindi normal yun eh, no?
Pero sa akin, yung paglaki ko, pagka may ginawa kang mali, yun na, di ba? Ano man? Business ka? Pambobo man? Parang gano'n, di ba? You know, I'm not saying that yung parents ko sobrang toxic, pero they have that, I would say 70%, they have the let's call it the Filipino parents gene. yung parang blaming, pero they mean well, pero ang sakit sa dibdib, yung mga ganon. There are parents like that. Yung listener na to, he has to work on the reading their personality. Kasi let's just minimize the chaos.
Yep. Makinig ka maigi dito, important to.
Ay, sabi mo? Sorry?
Hindi, sabihin ko lang makinig siya maigi sa sasabihin mo. Important tong part na to. Sobrang important.
Yeah, let's minimize the chaos. I-gauge mo sa experience mo kung gaano ka bait o gaano ka lupit yung parents mo, where they'll hold something against you na masama. Kasi it will actually pass on sa, kunyari magkaroon kang asawa, magdala ka ng isang babae if you marry somebody, you're bringing that person inside your family. Therefore, yung asawa mo magiging tatay na ng asawa mo, yung parents mo. They will transfer that hate to whoever you bring into the family. So you have to be careful kung the way you talk to your parents and how you speak to them. Na kung kunyari bibitawan mo yung responsibility o gagawin mo yung responsibility. But you really have to remember that you have to move on from being a child to being a man. This is your rite of passage. Or else, you'll see na walang difference yung trato nila sa'yo. Kahit na malicious yung trato nila sa'yo na masama, once they see that you're actually an adult at the same level as them, mas mahihirapan sila imaliit ka. Kasi you're showing your worth. Yun lang. Kasi nakikita ko talaga yung lumalaki ako sa Pilipinas, I saw yung mga ibang parents na kung ano sinasabi nila sa anak nila, na magbibigay sila ng magsasabi sila ng masama in 1 minute from their head, para bang baliwala lang. But I saw my classmates, they would cry the whole day sa sinabi ng parents nila, and their parents are not even aware na masakit because para bang habit na lang. So you just have to be careful.
Parang nasabi lang, lumabas sa bibig.
Hindi, pero problema, habit na eh. Naging
Yep.
Halos every day ginagawa ng parents sa Pilipinas yun.
Isa sa mga important things na malaman kung mag-approach ka ng parent mo ng ganyan, hindi mo pwede expect na kung ano yung gusto mong response, yun yung bibigay nilang response sa'yo. You can't expect anything. Kung hindi mo gusto yung sasabihin nila, kung ganito, ganyan.
You have to remember, some parents are dicks.
Yep.
Sorry. Some parents are assholes. You know, talagang meron talaga akong nakikita na, man, dude, leave your parents. Or talagang umalis ka dyan, bumalik ka na lang after 5 years, naging successful ka na, bumalik ka na lang, pakita mo sa nila. There are situations where you really have to separate yourself from toxic people. So we don't know your situation. This is probably the best we could give you with the limited things that we know about you. Pero yeah, I'm just letting you know there's some parents are like that.
And I think, lalo na sa Pinas, di ba? Kung ganun yung parents mo, tapos gusto mo parang i-implement yung loving family culture, kailangan mong maging sobrang maunawain. Ang daling sabihin, pero mahirap gawin. Pero tingin ko para magawa mo siya, kailangan mo itatakto sa isip mo. Kung ano yung pinapakita nila sa'yo, yun lang yung nakalakihan nila. Diba?
Yeah.
Parang, pag naging aware ka dun sa thought na yun, kahit minsan yung pinakamasasakit na salita, parang, even though masakit, parang, sakit, pero parang nagagawa mong wag bumaon yung kutsilyo kung feeling mo parang sinaksa ka. Nasaktan ka pero
Kasi automatic response na nila yun, di ba?
yun yung nakalakihan nila. So alam mo ba, gusto ko lang i-share to na 'di ba the podcast is all about mindset, better mindset. Dati sobrang pangit ng mindset ko, victimizing, self-victimizing, self-sabotaging. Nung nalaman ko throughout listening to other podcasts na kung ano ka ngayon is a product of your old programming, kung paano ka ba binrought up ng kung sino man nag-raise sa'yo, sino man yung role models mo nung maliit ka pa. Muntik ko nang sisihin yung parents ko na, kaya pala ako ganito dahil, oo nga, yung mga parents ko, hindi nila tinuro sa akin, hindi sila ganito mag-isip. Ngayon, with humility, na-realize ko na, oo, parang there's some truth to that, pero they did they did the best they can, the best they could with what they had before. Kasi yung mga topic naman about, depression, financial stuff, hindi yun parang easy access sa kanila nung times nila. Kumbaga, kaya mas dapat i-take opportunity natin ngayon and generation ngayon, yung lahat ng available sa atin. Pero yun, the fact na maging aware ka na kaya lang ganito yung parents mo, kaya lang sila parang may pagka-toxic mag-react sa'yo. Dahil yun yung nakalaki nila. Pag naging aware ka doon, mas hindi na masakit, mas magiging maunawain ka. Mas magagawa mo. Para sa akin, ganun eh. Kasi, the moment na naging aware ka doon, parang it loses its power over you na maging reactive doon sa toxicity ng kung sino mang tao yan. Kahit hindi lang parent mo, kahit sino pa yan. Ganun ko na itrato yung ibang toxic na tao ngayon eh. Naisip ko lagi, baka ganito siya pinalaki. Or hindi okay yung naging environment niya habang lumalaki siya. Nagagawa ko maging more empathetic. Pero yun, isang importanteng bagay to consider when you're gonna approach your parents ngayon.
We don't have enough information to give the best advice, but I think he should start with his brother. Of course, if the listener is, but regardless, if he's the older brother or younger brother, I think he should talk to his brother and say, hey, what can I do to help you get a job? Why haven't you gotten a job yet? You're finished with school. And maybe it might be just he's afraid or he's just not trying, might be lazy. So you should start there. And then when you approach that conversation with your brother, start with love, start with, I want you to be able to support yourself. Instead of me supporting you, you should support yourself. You're not getting younger. You went to school with the intention to get a job. I don't think you go to school for fun, for 10 years. So that's what I would start with. And he has to make sure when he does talk to his brother and even with his parents, he can't show that it's a burden, even if it is a burden to him, because they're gonna resent him. They're gonna make him the bad guy. So he has to show that, yeah, I love you. That's why I've been supporting you. But let's do better. How can we do better? How can I help you in that way? And I think that's where he should start.
Man, that's a really good advice. Kasi, although it's real naman na gaya nga ng sabi ni Kim sa isa sa mga podcast episode namin, parang hindi ka nag-anak para magkaroon ng investment plan. Kumbaga, I think if lumaki yung anak mo na parang sobrang reliant ka sa kanya, umaasa ka sa kanya, parang, I think, para sa akin it shows your, sabihin ko kasi failure. Ayoko naman naglagay ng negative connotation, pero parang you could have done better. Parang it shows how you raised your kid or how you lived your life. The decisions you've made, yung mga ginawa mo sa buhay mo, it led up to this point of your life na umaasa ka na sa anak mo tuloy.
Sorry.
Yes, fine. Pero yun nga, hindi ka nag-anak para magkaroon ng investment. Pero bilang anak naman, ang sarap makapagbigay, di ba?
Yeah, of course.
Ang hindi
I think
masarap is pagpilit.
yeah, like what you're saying is what do you call that? Yeah, like what you said, you know, your job as a parent is to groom or raise your child to support themselves.
Mhm.
But that should be your goal, is for them to not need you. You know, they grow into a functioning adult, and you know, I don't think it's fair for the child, for you as a parent, to just expect, oh, I took care of you, now you have to take care of me. I don't think that's fair. I think the child should take care of the parent. You know, if they were raised correctly, you saw that your parents, how much they loved you raising you, then of course you're going to return the favor. But to expect that, you know, you're making your child just weaker, I guess. You're kind of holding them back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that conversation needs to be had. Pero going back to what you said, parang never come from a negative place. Kasi mas hindi nila ipaprocess yung sinasabi mo pag if you're coming out na parang ganito ginagawa nyo, ganito ganyan, gusto ko na mapag-isa. Mga ganun.
Emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be rational. Na minahal, they love you. You're their son or their daughter. Naging isa sa mga norms ng Filipino culture nga lang is yung, yun nga, paglaki ng bata, siya naman magpo-provide. I think hindi yun yung case dyan eh, no? Pero again, it's cultural differences. And just don't come from a negative place. Parang yun ang yung pinaka-best advice. The conversation will definitely be uncomfortable, di ba? Expect mo. Isa yun sa mga dapat mong i-expect. Especially if you weren't used to having conversations like that.
Yeah, and I would even practice that conversation with, you know, just yourself, and maybe write down different scenarios. Maybe they'll be open and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't know," and you don't have to pay anymore.
No,
or maybe
no?
they'll get mad.
Baka di
Or
lang sila
maybe-
aware.
Yeah, exactly. They might not be aware. So just practice different scenarios, and whatever response you get, you know, at least you're prepared. But what I was writing down here in my notes was, because the listener that wrote in, we don't have enough information, so we don't know, right, what their situation is with their parents. Maybe they are old and sick and they really cannot work.
But he mentioned that kumikita pa yung parents niya.
Oh, they are working.
Nagtatrabaho naman po ang mga parents ko, pero obligado pa rin ako magbigay ng pera sa kanila.
Yeah. Well, even then, even if they're working, I don't know what type of job. I don't know how much they're making.
Yeah, right. Oh.
Yeah. And we don't know the situation, if they have any other siblings or sicknesses. I think if I, as a listener, if I were the listener, the way I would decide is how necessary is it really for me to continue giving? Like, am I giving because I want to help, or because I need to help? You know, there's no way we can make ends meet without my help. And if that's the case, then just continue to sacrifice, and maybe, you know, just continue to sacrifice, and, you know, pick up a second job until you can support yourself and get on your feet while you're supporting your parents. What is that called? Magtiis muna, right?
Yeah, magtiis muna.
You just be patient. But that depends on the situation. I'm not sure what their situation. If their parents are fine without his help, then that's when you need to have that conversation and just be open about, you want to prepare for yourself for the future. And I think as the parents, that's not a conversation you would be afraid of having with your child, because that's what you want for your child, is to be independent from you, you know, to show that, oh, I did my part and now my child is growing up. I think they'd be proud. Yeah.
Yung part na magtiis, I think you're gonna be able to do that better if nagtitiis ka with the intention of coming up with a solution on how can we level up from this situation. Kasi I think the moment na malaman mo sa sarili mo na hindi forever tong scenario na to, tong feeling na to, you're more motivated to take action on being able to solve the problems that needs to be solved. Ang pangit kasi pag yung nagtiis ka lang, pero forever kang nagtitiis lang. Alam mo yun? You're just surviving.
Yeah. I think you'll just start, having resentment already.
Yeah.
You start feeling mad. It's not, what do you call that? Your sacrifice isn't really worth anything.
Worthwhile. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have any goals to end the sacrifice.
Man, that is spot on yun, man. That should be a
Yeah.
quote.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. And I think other than just the listener planning, how to come up with a solution, he should involve his family that he's supporting.
Yeah.
And he just has to make sure he's been doing it already, supporting them. So I would approach it as, I'll continue to support you, but let's make a plan in order for me to not have to support you. And maybe it'll take a few months or a few years, but slowly decrease how much he's supporting or how much he's giving. And
I think,
Like I said,
diba, parang put the spotlight on how that will help them.
yeah, it has to be, because you can't just say, oh, I have my own goals,
Oh,
period. That's selfish, and it's not selfish, but it's like, how are you gonna win them over to see where you're coming from?
yep. It needs to be
Yeah.
mutual.
Mhm. Yeah.
Ang pinakamahirap na scenario na naiisip ko is, I think yung nabigay ko last time sa isa sa mga episode namin ni Kim, yung the farmer situation, yung ganong type of family background na talagang laki sa hirap, yung tipong isang kahig, isang tuka. You know that saying?
No, I don't. Can you
Like-
explain it?
Like, the salary for today is what we will survive on. Kung ano yung today, yun na yun. We don't have anything
Oh.
for tomorrow. Like, what you earn today, that's what we'll get.
Mhm.
Nothing for tomorrow. If I don't work tomorrow, we don't get anything tomorrow. Isang kahig,
Mhm.
isang tuka.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Yung mga tipong yung pamilyang sa bukid nakatira, mga ganun.
Uh-huh.
Yun yung parang medyo tough situation na yung tatay magsasaka, tapos talaga hindi naman forever kaya ng tatay yung physical work ng pagiging magsasaka.
Uh-huh.
Parang yun yung pinaka tough spot to be in as a child, as a kid, paglaki mo. In some
Right.
way, you sort of have that responsibility na iahon yung family na yun. If you
Right.
choose to have that accountability or that responsibility na aakuin mo yun, di ba?
Mhm. Exactly. I think that's spot on, dude. When you said accountability, you need to make it your responsibility to bring your family higher, if that's truly what you want. And like you said, people like farmers in the Philippines, maybe they don't have access to internet or
Mhm.
podcasts or books, and that's all they know. And you can't blame them, because that's all they know. They don't know what else is out there. They don't know other options. But those that are more fortunate, like our listener, who has access to internet and your podcast and other ways to learn, that's on him. That's on him to learn. I guess what I'll use is financial literacy, to learn more about finances. And then if his parents don't know, that's fine. They didn't know. But now that you have everything that you have in front of you, use it. Don't just let it go to waste and complain that, hey, life is kind of hard right now. Hey, I need to support my family. Okay, what are we going to do about it? What can we do? What options are we blessed with to use? And that's how you need to think, is you have so many options, and then you learn it, and then teach your family, teach your brother, and then your whole family will just elevate from there. And then that's when you start teaching the next generation, so you don't get into this whole resentment of, I'm giving my money to my parents, how can I live for myself? It's hard now, but it's not the end. We can do something about it. And I think, like I said, you have the opportunity, you have the resources. That's what you should use.
Yep. I really like that. Kasi For me right now, I think as long as I'm breathing, I can
Mhm.
create, I can make the most out of any opportunity. Dati hindi ganun to
Mhm.
yung mindset ko sobra. Dati
Yeah.
I just dwell on being helpless.
Mhm.
Kaya it's important to be utilizing the information available sa atin, either YouTube, podcast, whatever. And be open kasi nalalaman mo kung ano yung what's possible compared sa kung
Mhm.
ano lang yung alam ng generation ng family niyo before.
Yeah, exactly.
And use that resource to better your
Mhm.
not only your life pero kung sino mang gusto mong maapektuhan din.
And maybe he'll have his own children if he doesn't already, and he doesn't want his children to be in the position that he's in.
Mhm.
And once he takes care of himself and he can teach that knowledge to his children, they should never, not never, but I mean, they shouldn't worry about this anymore. Um, but I believe that it's unfortunate, especially in the Philippines. My dad's from Ilocos. I think he said he was, what do you call that, bro? Bahay kubo. How you
Bye,
grow up?
Kubo.
Yeah, you're growing up pretty poor. You don't really have access to much.
Man.
And, it made me think, if that's all you know growing up and you really don't have access to internet, or no one around you is encouraging you to read or learn, then that's your life, you know. And it just takes one person to encourage you, hey, you should read this book, or you should go, if you have internet, you should research this. And just that one, like, as hungry as your mindset is, if you don't have the resources or no one shows you the resources, then that's kind of
Yeah.
kind of a waste. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
your hunger of your mindset, it's kind of a waste if you don't have resources. And I think that's why, for the listener, because he has the resources, because his heart is there. I'm assuming he has a really good heart because he's sacrificing for his family. He's pretty hungry, I'm sure, to give and to support. And now use that hunger and the resources, put them together, and go from there. But again, it starts with communicating too. You can't just grind, and your family still doesn't know what you want.
Yeah.
You need to be on board. Make it a family thing.
Needs to be communicated.
Yeah.
Kasi baka parang you're in this grind fest on your own and you're expecting na ma-realize nila pero hindi mo naman sinasabi sa kanila.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Doon nagkakaroon ng more resentment.
Mm-hmm.
That expectation.
Yeah. Yeah, resentment is especially with family, man. Family finances, it's always frowned upon.
Yeah.
I think, but yeah, as long as the love is there, the foundation of, you're here for your family, you're here to love each other, to support each other. And I think that starts with the parents. My parents raised myself and my siblings with that mindset. Money, no matter how much money you have or how little you have, it always starts with love. You don't let that ruin the family. And they really instilled that in us. And I'm really thankful for that, because we always operate with gratitude. We always have that gratitude, because hey, if we lose everything, but we have family and they're healthy, your life is full. You have a full life. You have reason to be thankful. And I think our listener needs to, if he is starting to resent his family, remember that. Remember that, hey, if you have both your parents, you have your siblings, be happy for that, and then use that love in your heart, that happiness, to elevate them, do better. Lead the plan of action to do better as a family. But don't let money start to push you away from your parents. Like, oh, I'll just do this on my own, I don't need you then. That's kind of sad. It's not worth the sacrifice to build your own future. I don't think so.
Parang come up with the plan. Sit down, come up with a plan. Pero make that plan like come from a loving perspective. Hindi yung ito na nga gagawin ko para lang di ko nakakausapin to sila.
Exactly.
Parang gano'n.
Yeah, because if I were the parent and you approach me like that, Like, okay, I'll figure it out on my own. You get a, you can leave. We don't need that attitude. We don't need your negativity. And it's a bigger loss than however much money you're losing to lose that relationship with your parents. That's the bad trade-off.
Pero ngayon ko lang na-realize yung sinabi mo about as long as you have family. Parang ilang beses ko na naririnig yun sa mga speakers, mga ganun. Pero ewan ko kung bakit, pero ngayong sinasabi mo sa akin, it makes me realize na, oo nga, no? Kung wala kaming pera, pero we're a good family and we love each other, there's this undying hope na kaya naming bumangon.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we can work together para umahon sa kahirapan, mga ganun. Kasi mas sobrang mahirap gawin yun kung if you hate each other and lahat na lang everyday you're angry, everyday ang negative mo, di ba? Parang doon na-realize yung talagang importance ng pagiging okay and having a loving family.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's
pero ang hirap niya ma-realize lalo na kung nandun ka sa situation mismo, di ba?
Yeah.
Kaya
That's true.
kaya for you, the listener, even though wala kami sa situation mo, medyo we can't relate 100%. Parang take this with hope. Take this advice with hope na it can work. It can make it somehow better.
Yeah, I agree. And I also don't think don't look at it as, oh, I have my family and we don't have a lot of money and that's okay. That's how we'll live for the rest of our life. I think that is the wrong mindset as well. You don't just give up on life and just say, oh, at least I have my family. No, you should still continue to improve as a family. But the reason that family and money, I know personally some people who make a lot of money, but it really does come at the sacrifice of their family. You're working so much, you're working so hard, and you see this in the movies or you hear it, whatever, but it's true. You only have 24 hours, and if you spend 20 hours at work, your 4 hours are for your family. Of course, your family is going to start to drift apart from you. And that's why it really is a balance, and communicating, making sure they understand why you need to work. For the listener, if you need to work more and you spend less time with your family, make sure they understand that and make sure they understand the goal. But yeah, it really is just gratitude. You don't, like I said, you don't want to start building resentment over money, over having to give some of your paycheck to support your family. And then you build resentment and you leave so that you can build your own life. Now you have a life without family. That's not a good trade, man.
That's sad. I think eventually you'll find yourself in a corner thinking if I did the right thing.
Yeah.
Kahit even though magkaroon ka ng maraming pera, I think it will always come back to haunt you.
Yeah, because you can't, especially now, man, now that we have our own child, realizing how hard it is. And she's only 7 months. And I'm already saying, man, there's some hard moments here. And ultimately, we've been blessed. I tell my wife, we're so blessed. She's not really too hard. She hasn't really been sick. But it makes me think about our parents. And that's why that gratitude is always there, because now you realize I only have one daughter. She's 7 months. What about your parents who had maybe 3 kids, 5 kids? And this was before, where they didn't really have internet to learn. They didn't really have cars or whatever that we have. It's not as nice now as it was, or it's not as nice before as it is now. And you just really need to think about your parents' sacrifice, for the listener. And the reason I'm saying this, I really want to drill the point to avoid resentment as much as possible.
Right.
Always start with love, man, and know that your parents sacrificed to put you in this position that you are. And I think that's the goal as a parent is your parents worked hard so that you can start here. And now your job once you have kids is to work hard so they can start higher than you. And just keep building your family. And we don't know. Our parents don't complain. Well, my parents didn't complain. They didn't tell us like, oh, I gave up my life to raise you.
Mhm.
Kind of cold. I don't think you should say that to your child.
Never, man.
But that it is true. You make some sacrifices as parents, and I see that now. And I see the sacrifices my parents had to make to raise us. And I think the listener, you should really keep that in mind, that your parents sacrificed. And now that you're able to work, they raised you in order to, they raised you in a way for you to operate in society so that you can get your own job, get your own money. And now they're asking for some help. Don't resent that. It's not the best situation. It's not ideal. You would like to keep your whole check, of course, but it's a way of saying thank you, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. And as far as for the brother who's in school, that's a different story, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to push him. Yeah, he's done with school, and now it's time to make it worth it. Make the school, your time worth it. Go get a job.
Time to be a man.
Yeah, very much. That's a different conversation.
Yeah. Pero
You don't have that conversation with your brother and your parents.
with what you said about, wanting to drill in the point to avoid resentment, sobrang nakarelate ako dun. And gusto ko i-share to real quick with the listener. Kasi although hindi kami same ng situation financially, ako ngayon hindi ako inobligat ng parents ko magbigay. Pero I almost resented my parents in a way na nung nalaman ko na yung negative mindset ko before is the product of their lack of parenting skills. Although nag-provide sila financially, I really had no one to look up to when I was growing up. And I learned na yun yung isa sa mga huge reasons kung bakit sobrang messed up ng mind ko before. Pero ngayon na hopefully I'm, fixing my mindset and still at it, na-realize ko yung they were only doing the best they can at the moment, lalo ng times na yun.
Exactly.
And then yung concept na mga natututunan natin ngayon, hindi naman to available sa kanila before. They only knew how to provide. And so, munti ko na ma-resent yung parents ko. Pero the moment na na-realize ko yun on my own, na they were just doing the best they can, what's available for us today, the topic about mental health, depression, financial advice, hindi to available before. They didn't have access to it. They had to be, up. Kumbaga parang sa entrepreneurship, di ba? You jump off a cliff and you build the plane on the way down. Parang ganun yung ginawa nila sa parenting nila.
Exactly.
That's how they did their parenting. Na they just jump off the parenting cliff. They build the plane on the way down. Turns out, yung plane na nabuo nila, hindi siya fully functioning plane. Pero it was able enough to survive, to keep you fed, to keep a roof above your head. Parang ganun. And that's why I'm so grateful for my parents ngayon. Even though yung negative mindset ko, parang they played a part in it pala. Is because, that's a very important realization yun sa akin kasi I was able to avoid this bottomless pit of negativity and blaming my parents for having a negative mind. And gusto ko lang rin i-share yun sa listener kasi baka makatulong din yun if you look at it and applied it to your situation financially naman.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, your parents, they did the best they can with what they had.
Yep.
And that's it. You're alive,
Yeah, I'm alive.
You did your job. Yeah.
Pero before, hirap na hirap akong ma-realize yun ewan kung napakinggan mo yung isa sa mga very, very previous podcast ko na may nakita akong kumakain sa basura pero di ko pa rin magawa maging grateful. Mga ganun.
Yeah.
Ganun,
Yeah, I get that.
yeah. Ganun kagrabe yung mindset ko dati.
Yeah, I think yeah, just you have to practice gratitude. Like the first time we spoke, I remember I brought up gratitude.
Yeah.
I try to practice that every day. Even when you pray, you pray in the morning or at night. Or for those that aren't religious that are listeners, if you don't pray, just reflect, I guess, or meditate and be thankful. Be thankful, and that you're gonna have to rewire your mind to live with a thankful state of mind. And when problems like this come up, if you're having to give, if your paycheck is 5,000 and you give 4,000 to your parents, yeah, that's not the best, but try to be thankful that, yeah, I get to keep 1,000. And don't let life take advantage of you, but it makes you kind of reflect on, how is our situation? Is this fair? If it is fair because your parents really need the money, then be thankful that you still have 1,000 left over, and then build from that. But for the listener, I think he has to also come up with a plan to approach his brother, as far as
Yeah.
helping, pulling his weight. And again, it comes down to just approach it with love. That's your brother. If he's the younger brother, if the listener is younger or older, it doesn't matter. Just continue to lead, show, what do you call that? Lead by example.
Yeah.
Show what you're supposed to do.
And I
And
think-
hopefully your brother catches on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I think just ask your brother what's up. Bakit ganun? Maybe he's going through something na,
Exactly. Yeah.
it may look simple to you, pero sa kanya, grabe pala yung pinagdadaanan niya. You just don't know about it kasi wala siyang sinasabi. Kaya,
Yeah.
simple lang na di ba? What's up? What's going on? But
Mhm.
looking for a job. Ewan ko ba, basta, isa yun sa mga struggle ko kasi may kapatid din ako na tinatry kong maging, parang mas sa akin sila mag-open up whenever they have problems.
Right.
Pero yun, ask your brother if what's up. Baka may pinagdadaanan na hindi mo alam.
Yeah, you never know until you ask, right?
Yep.
But even the brother, again, it starts with how you approach him. If you approach him like, oh, what are you doing and you're not helping? That's not the right approach. Approach with love, approach with showing that you do care.
Nagiging pabigat ka lang. Ano ba, naghihirap kami, mga ganun. That will never help. No?
Right. Yeah. And I think the listener knows that. So we're just reminding,
Yeah.
Just do it with love. Be patient, do it with love. That's the main thing. And be thankful for what you do have right now. This is not the end. It's not like your whole life will be like this. It's good that he reached out. That means he's looking for a solution. So that's good. That's a start.
Yeah.
So, with the advice that we gave him today, hopefully it helps. And with Kim and Philip, hopefully it helps to, come up with a plan and, better his life. And then maybe if it works or if it doesn't work, well, hopefully it works, but maybe the listener can join us, on the podcast, give us some of his feedback.
Yeah, I'd like that. And to end with this, I want to give kind of like strategic advice on how to approach your brother or your parent. Tingin ko lang, this is what I would do. Parang, lalo na pag hindi ako sanay makipag-usap. I would put myself in their shoes and iisipin ko, how would I like myself to talk to me? Ano yung klaseng approach na gusto ko kaya kung ako yung nasa pwesto nila? Think about that.
Right. I agree. Yeah. Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it. Definitely.
Don't know.
Don't end up doing nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. I've been listening to Jordan Peterson lately, and his big thing is don't sweep it under the rug. Right. If something's bothering you, shine light on it. Try to just acknowledge it, because the more you sweep it under the rug, the next time you look, you're gonna have a big monster and it's going to be
Yeah.
a lot harder to tackle it. So just start. Even if you need to take your brother out to lunch and you don't bring it up at all. If you just bring him out to lunch just to build a relationship, if you don't already have a good relationship, start there. And then once you feel like the chemistry is better, the relationship is better, then you can open up and be more vulnerable. But just start somewhere. That's your brother. Like I said, it's all about family. You can't buy family, you can't buy out family. It's family.
100%, bro.
Mhm.
Well, I hope this helps the listener and really take time to sit with it, process it, but don't overthink it.
Mhm. Right. Good luck, listener.
Yeah, good luck, man. I really appreciate your support for the podcast and we hope na makatulong tong advice na to. Nakalimutan ko lagi, tinatry ko mag-Tagalog.
Yeah.
Yeah, tinatry ko mag-Tagalog talaga para masanay ka, si Kevin.
Mm. No, thank you for that. Yeah. I can understand. It's a little harder to
Sanay kasi ako pag nag-English yung kausap ko, mag-English din ako.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
know. I
my,
know this. It's okay.
pero yun. All right, man. So thanks for your time and thanks for the listeners. I just want to end with this na I think, let me just pull it up real quick. Gusto ko i-share yung stats ng podcast with you, Kevin, and sa
Yeah.
listeners natin. Kasi I never would have thought na it'll reach these numbers. So, meron na tayong 4,269 plays. Yung mga audience na nag-play ng episodes ng podcast. It has reached 4,269. And then on Spotify, the podcast now has 228 followers. So that may seem
Good.
small on paper, pero if you think about it, 228 people in the same room, how would you process that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So gusto ko lang share
Mhm.
yun. Yeah, and
They might
I
be
really
playing it in their car,
Yeah.
with other people listening to. So share it, for the listeners out there, share this pod. If it helps you and you think it'll help someone, just share it. It's not for, I'm pretty sure, Andrew, you're not here for, reviews or ratings. You're just here to help.
Yep.
And I think that's the goal with this podcast. So for the listeners, share it to those that you think this can help.
Actually, before I felt guilty whenever I'm asking for reviews. Pero once na natutunan ko sa isa pang podcaster na it actually helps other people kasi when there's good reviews, it gets recommended to other people that may want to hear it as well.
Right.
And so I think it's just an imposter syndrome na I need to get over with. Pero feel free to share it. Feel free to drop a review. It's not required. And feel free to follow. Everything is not required. Do it at your own will.
Right. Share,
And-
man. If it helps you, share it.
Yep. Happy listening.